So I have a video in just a second, and I'll start it here in a little bit. But have you ever had something that was surprising to you? Have you ever had something that's surprising, that something happened, it's like, oh, wow, like that's amazing. Maybe someone had a surprise birthday for you, or maybe you came home and the entire bottom level of your home was flooded. You know, like there's just some things in this world that are surprising, right? That's kind of what we're talking about today. And that idea of finding out something new that is surprising is what this video is about. All right?
Hey, it's me, Destin. Welcome back to Smarter Every Day. So today we're in the rocket van, and I've got two little science helpers here, right?
Yes.
Are you wearing your seatbelts?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to do something pretty interesting. Check this out. I've got a pendulum suspended from the top of our family van, and we're just going to drive forward. We're going to accelerate. So if we're going that way, which direction do you think this pendulum should go? What do you think? 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes.
Which way is it going?
My way.
That's right. It's because I'm accelerating, right? Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
very good. I was hoping it would make sense. So we're going to change it up just a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this pendulum with a balloon. And we should see the same thing, right? Let me cut this off. So what we're going to do is we're going to accelerate that way. So we have the mass of the balloon and the acceleration, so that should net in a force, and we'll have to react with this string, right? You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
3,
Yes, sir.
2, 1, go.
Oh.
Wait a second. What just happened? I don't know, what happens when I stop? The balloon goes backwards when I stop. What's happening?
It's going the same.
3, 2, 1, go. There it is, it's coming right at me. Why is it doing that? Do you want to know?
Yeah.
If I've got this air that's just like it, what happens if I move the jar that way? All that water sloshes to the back. And when that water sloshes back this way, which direction does the bubble go? You see that? So the air bubble moves in the direction of acceleration. Does that make sense? I know you're 5, but I think you can get this. Okay, so I've got my seatbelt on. If I drive forward real fast right now, which direction is the balloon gonna go?
Forward.
Why will it go forward?
Because all the air is splashing back.
That's right, very good. Watch this. Whoosh. Look at that. You see that? Okay, so now we have the plumb bob right next to the balloon. So if I go forward, they should spread apart, right? Let's check it out. Does it work? Is it working?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Anyway, I'm Destin. You're getting smarter every day. Please subscribe to Smarter Every Day and support our sponsor, Audible. I'll leave a link somewhere and you can check it out. Thanks. Bye.
How do you change your...
Have you guys ever watched Smarter Every Day before? Yeah, no, right? That's on YouTube. Like, I watch an uncomfortable amount of YouTube every week, all right? And you guys probably thought, oh, that thing's just filled with cat videos. There's amazing, there's amazing educational stuff on it. That's a show that I subscribe to and I watch every time it comes on. He lives in Huntsville, Alabama, and he works for NASA. He's one of the rocket scientists, and so he calls them Smarter Everyday videos. These kind of basic physics and things like that videos. So did you guys catch it? What was actually happening is that helium-filled balloon the air was actually sloshing to the back of the van. Right? Remember that? And I remember the first time I watched that, I was kind of half watching it, type of thing, and I was like, oh, the balloon went forward. And then like that, the surprising thing wasn't so much the balloon went forward, is that one of the biggest problems I've had in my life has been, when you have like the birthday balloons in the back of your car, and when you go to accelerate, all the balloons try to attack you? That's why. That's why. Like all the air comes rushing back because you're accelerating too fast. And that's all the air goes rushing back and the balloons come rushing to the front. Like that's why they're trying to attack you. In the back end, you're like, get out of here, balloon, right? It's a surprising thing. So what else has been surprising that you've learned and you're like, oh wow, this is something that I've recognized every day, that I've always seen, and it's surprising. And that's kind of what we're talking about today, because that's kind of, God ends up doing surprising things all the time, and he says, come and see. Come and see. God and his disciples are beckoning us to come and see the surprising things that God is doing. Because there are a lot of surprising things, because God has a tendency to do things backwards and use those, right? He did do things backwards than what we think. Like, we think that balloons should go back in the back of the van, but it goes forward. I mean, look at the Beatitudes from Mark chapter 5. Blessed are the poor. Since when have the poor been blessed, right? Blessed are the meek. The meek, like, no, it's the pride that inherit the earth, the prideful. And he says, no, blessed are the meek. But I love that dad's spirit in the video. It's almost like he's telling his kids and all of us, he's like, hey, come and see this strange thing that has happened. Come and see. And that's kind of our idea today. So I just read the scripture, but let's look at it again. So from our text today, from John chapter 1, Jesus is going by, oh yeah, surprising. I forgot I had that slide. Surprising. You remember that movie, right? You know that's like 20 years old now, right? Like that video, that movie? That's right? That's, if you were born at the same time that movie came out, you'd be out of college now. Think about that. So we have our, that's the surprising thing for you today, right? That's, man. Yeah, we'll talk about just surprising things. At the last church I was at, we're teaching confirmation, and the class last year, the class that just graduated, I think it was that one, we did confirmation for 7th and 8th graders, and all the 7th graders, everyone in that class, the 7th and the 8th graders, were born after 9/11. When you talked about 9/11, that was history to them. All right? I was like, when I realized that, I was like, oh, because I remember where I was, you know? Like, I remember, like, you guys talking about where you were when JFK was shot, right? Like, that's just history to me, right? But, like, I remember where I was in 9/11. That was surprising, right? God uses surprising things. So in our John chapter 1 passage, Jesus is going around and recruiting his disciples. He's bringing them in. And Philip found Nathanael. These are disciples. And he says, we have found him of whom Moses in the law and the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. And Nathanael said, can anything come out of Nazareth? Anything good come out of Nazareth? Have you ever said anything like that before? That's kind of the surprising thing here, is that Jesus grew up in Nazareth, this little tiny town where nothing comes from. I've been racking my brain trying to think of the small nothing towns around this area, and like, you know, is it Fort Pierce? Like, there's nothing good that comes out of Fort Pierce or something like that. I'm beginning to probably see that it's actually Port St. Lucie. Like that's it's like, ooh, nothing good comes out of Port St. Lucie, right? Like that's, but no, maybe we can pick on Okeechobee for a little bit, right? Like nothing good. And someone's like, I like the catfish that comes out of Okeechobee. That's nothing good comes out of there. But think about that, like that small town that nothing good ever came out of. On the maps, the Roman maps of the day, didn't even include Nazareth on them. Just a little podunk town that nothing ever happened in, you know? And here Jesus of Nazareth is coming out of that little podunk town. You know, this Messiah couldn't possibly be this guy. Nothing good comes out of there. And I think we make ourselves into Nazareth sometimes. Sometimes we make ourselves into Nazareth. They're like, nothing good could come out of me. I'm just too old. Nothing good. God can't use me anymore. I'm stuck in this bed. I can't do anything. My hips hurt way too much for God to use me. You know, I just don't know enough. I don't know enough. I'm too much of a Nazareth. Nothing good could come out of me because I don't know enough. God can't use me, right? Like that's, maybe God's beckoning, like, come and see. Come and see. You know, we're like, I'm just too sick. I'm just too sick. You know, God can't heal me. God can't use me. I think he's beckoning us to come and see, because the very next little bit says, Philip said to him, it's like, nothing good can come out of Nazareth? Well, come and see. Come and see. We all have these insecurities around us, and we're like, God can't use that. So we try to squelch them down, and we try to hide them as we walk into church. We're like, everything's good, right? We like to hide them down, and they're like, no, nothing. I got my act together. At least for the next 2 hours, I got my act together. like that. I got it together, and it's like you get home, and there's like, that pastor is talking a lot of big game over there. Listen, I'm kind of like Nazareth. God can't use me. Maybe going to be like Nathaniel. And Philip is telling us, hey, come and see. Come and see. Because God will probably do a surprising thing in your life. You guys are familiar with this terminology of joining Jesus on his mission. And that's kind of what that is. It's joining Jesus in the surprising things that he's already doing, and we just need to be open to it. We need to be praying that's like, God, open my eyes to see what you are doing already around me. Because if you are laid up, I've been talking to people lately that are in recovery centers. Arlene is one of them. Joan is one of them. They're in recovery centers, and I'm sure they think in their mind, it's like, I can't do anything good right here. I can't even get up on my own type of thing. But what nurse needs a patient that could show the love of God to them? What person next to you in the next bed could need them? Because the pastor up here, I may never see that nurse. But you may see that nurse. How many times a day would you see that nurse? Right? It's amazing what God can use in you. Or think about the people that you work with, or the people you just see in your neighborhood. God can do all these surprising things because he's in the business of doing surprising things. Again, the reason why they're surprising is that God uses all these weird, surprising people, and he's asking us, come and see what I did with them. Imagine what I will do with you. Because think about it. God chose to create a nation from a man and a wife who were infertile. We all call you the children of Abraham now. Come and see, right? Come and see. God chose the smallest brother to be the most beloved king of Israel. Come and see King David, right? God chose to free an entire city of sin from one rebellious prophet. Come see the sign of Jonah, right? God chose to come into this world with all of his saving power. Come and see a baby born in a manger, right? Not just a manger. We don't know what a manger is. Come and see a baby born in a feeding trough, surrounded by other animals. God chose to tell his perfect story of grace through common fishermen. Come and see the disciples. God chose to bring living water to his people. Come and see a woman who was caught in 5 affairs. God chose to meet a leader of the government. Come and see a little cheating tax collector who was up in a sycamore tree. God chose to be crowned king. Come and see a crown of thorns. God chose to bring life to his people. Come and see a bloodied man on a cross. And God chose to be with his people. And come and see an empty tomb. And for Nathaniel, that we've been talking about today, him and us, God is calling us to follow him and come see a man who said there was nothing good that could come out of Nazareth. So I think this is encouraging for us. So many of us, we may view ourselves as Nazareth. There's nothing good that can come out of here. There also may be a lot of Nazareths that are around you. You're like, the boy next door, nothing good can come out of that boy. We might as well call him Nazareth, right? Come and see. Come and see. There's nothing good that could happen out of, I don't know, fill in the blank. I feel like some of you guys have said stuff like that before. And we love to say to ourselves that God can only use the worthy. Maybe we could only use the worthy. But God comes through us. And he's saying, come along with me. Come and see the wild and the strange things that I have done, that I can do. But come and see. Because God is always inviting the unworthy. So remember this, that this verse right here is the beginning of the disciples' story of following Jesus. Remember all the things that they saw. Remember all the things because they listened to him and they came and they saw. They listened to that beckon to come and see. So here's my encouragement to all of you today. God wants us to come and see. He wants us to come and see so that we can be surprised about what he does. I think the LWML, it's LWML, L-Dubs Sunday, right? You guys will always remember that. Some of you are like going, why is he saying dubs? That's W, all right? That's a W. It's LWML Sunday, and I think the picture of this is their mites. It's just that everyday change. Everyday change that we just throw down on the counter, and we're like, I don't know what to do with this. And how much did they make last year? Do we remember? 1.4 million off of everyday change. Come and see the strange things that God can do through the ordinary. That stuff the heavy stuff that jingles in our pockets, right? Come and see the amazing things that God does and be ready to be surprised. Because I'm not talking about a big mission trip, although that could happen, but I'm talking about talking to your neighbor. Come and see the surprising things that God does. I'm talking about you going and talking to that lonely older man down the street that yells at kids. Come and see what God can do. I'm talking about that one kid down the road from you that needs a role model. Come and see what God can do. It's the everyday normal things that just take up time and look worthless. Don't get so enamored with what you're doing. You're like, this is going to be the next big thing. It's like, what has God doing in the ordinary, in the stable, right? With the woman caught in adultery. So step out and come and see what God is doing in the ordinary. You might just be surprised. Let's end right there.